Today we're looking at some of the top running backs via the next-gen stat charts from NFL.com. We're going to look at some guys you need to get off the waivers this week, some guys you want to have stashed tightly, some of your top running backs. We're looking at the charts, we're seeing where they're running the football, we're talking ball and prospecting out for the future. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're going deep on the waiver wire this week. We have to. This is one of the most critical weeks of the season. Waiver wire videos every single day this week. On top of that, we're going to help you set your lineups later this week with the must-start videos. And we're going to deep dive all the trending players so you can get the advanced analytics you need to make the decisions you need to make on those players. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You do not want to disappoint Ric Flair. We're starting off here with Jordan Mason. And that's the hot topic right now. Christian McCaffrey, we know he's going to be out for a bit. He's going to be out for some time. He's going to be shelved. And Jordan Mason here, we know what can happen. Just down below. Just right there. We know what can happen when he's getting a large workload. 78 rushing yards in the snow in a game where the Niners were struggling. 78 yards, 13 carries. And we were getting it up the gut. We're getting the volume. This is a volume hound. Even in those games where they're not getting it, he's going to get volume, and he could volume himself into fantasy production. Even if I'm good at running back, I don't want anybody else in my league to get him. If I had Christian McCaffrey, you should have had him stashed. You should have had him stashed. We sounded alarm with the Braylon Allen You Need video, saying, hey, this is the alarm to get your handcuffed running back for your main running back and have him stashed and be prepared, because it would be a shame if one of these running backs would go down right before or during the fantasy playoffs, and now you got to compete against the backup that you should have had stashed. Jordan Mason's going to get work. He's going to get opportunity. He's going to grind it between the tackles, even in the snow or no snow, between the tackles, getting that work. And we know in the right matchups, even in the bad matchups, he's going to get volume and get you a little something in fantasy. We're looking at Chris Rodriguez here for the Washington Commanders. And they're liking what they see, the coaching staff, and they're saying he deserves more work. 94 yards and a touchdown. This is a running back that was very productive at Kentucky. And he's got good vision. He's got the size to plot through. He could be getting some goal line work. Chris Rodriguez is a running back to pay attention to. If I have a spot available and I want to pick up a running back this week, I would pick him up just to see what happens. Just see if he gets some work in the back end of the season. They may want to see what they have in him too, so they may ride him out a little bit more. On top of that, this team's moving the football, and they are proven to use 2 running backs, if not sometimes 3. Chris Rodriguez could be a sneaky option down the stretch. He is a lottery ticket pickup, and look at where the ball's going on the chart. Up the gut, around the goal line. We're going to be getting some scores if we're on the field and we keep doing this. We're looking at Sincere McCormick, and they're saying, hey, this guy deserves the ball more. And they should, because it's not like any of the other running backs. Amir Abdullah is doing okay, but it's not like the main running back, Zeus and Alexander Madison, is really being undeniable right now. Prior to the injuries, 12 carries, 64 yards. Maybe he gets more work, but it's a lottery ticket for the back end of the season just in case he gets more work and more opportunity and they start riding him out. He's starting to do some things on the field. Had an interesting prospect profile, very productive at college. This was a rough matchup against the Chiefs. They shut down running backs. He was still able to churn out 64 yards. So that's something to look at. That's something to hang your hat on. And the fact we're running it all over the place, outside, up the gut, they're being creative with them. That's what that chart says. That is very interesting. He's a lottery ticket running back that is showing a little bit on the field. Isiah Pacheco's back. He's getting carries up the gut, and he's got the pop in the step. You saw that on the field, and you're seeing that in the chart. And we know what it looks like down below when he's getting the carries, when he's getting the rock. Even this year, we have 2 RB1 weeks where we were very productive. And then last year, multiple RB1 weeks. Isiah Pacheco is just going to ramp it up, and the next thing you know, he's going to be back to being Isiah Pacheco. That's probably going to be right in the meat of the fantasy playoffs. So this is very good to see out of him, just seeing some work, getting some opportunity. They don't need to ride him because they got Kareem Hunt, But still, this is very good to see that he can pop one off. He's still getting workload, and he can still get those opportunities right now, coming back from that injury, and we know what he can do on the field. Gus Edwards. This is the one where we're looking at very hard, and we got to make a decision here. Gus Edwards, in the right matchup, could volume himself into fantasy production. It is something that you may not want to start on the weekly, but he's also a guy that you don't have to have, that you must have. And he's also a guy that I think you can safely say that's just not going to turn on the burners and win your fantasy season. You're looking at Hassan Haskins, but Kamani Vidal got a fair amount of touches yesterday. 4 carries for 20 yards, I think. And he is explosive, good in the passing game. Has ran more routes than Gus Edwards and Hassan Haskins combined. That being said, he is the upside lottery ticket play, and everybody agrees with that. He's a lottery ticket play. If you do not understand what that means, you might want to just stay away. But still, that's the upside play here. Gus Edwards is the volume play that you're hoping the volume lucks in to production. James Cook. Dude's looking good. Dude was looking good last night in the snow. Very shifty in the snow. Looking very solid. We got 5 RB1 weeks on the season. Looks like we're going to have 6. Looks like that's going to happen. And he was one of the top ball carriers in speed, miles per hour. 21 point something in the snow on that long run. That was nasty. Changing directions. Looking good. Very shifty. Getting it up the gut. Popping it to the outside. James Cook, solid down the stretch. Alvin Kamara. Look at that. Just look at the chart here. All over the place. Just getting the work. Alvin Kamara was that smash in the middle of the rounds. That smash play. Because he should not have been that cheap in drafts. You could have went wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Got him, Aaron Jones, then Chuba Hubbard. You're looking good. You're sitting pretty. You could have went him, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks as your stash, Chuba Hubbard. If you drafted Jonathan Brooks, you should have picked up Chuba Hubbard in your drafts. You should have just did that. But what I'm saying here is you could have got your upside options, your lottery ticket plays, and still be good while being jacked at wide receiver this year. Alvin Kamara is just getting that work. He's all they got. He's getting it in the passing game, running it up the gut. This is very exciting for the fantasy playoffs, and we've known this. We've covered this every Monday. But look at that chart. His charts are always fun to look at. Same with Bijan Robinson. Very comparable, right? Because they're both burners. He can catch the ball in the backfield. Both very explosive. Good vision, good wiggle. And then just look at all the RB1 weeks here. We are hitting it very hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. Probably got another one right here. 102 yards and a touchdown. Just spraying it and praying it with the ball all over the place. Trying to get him in space. Allowing him to get it up the gut. He's got speed to burn. Bijan Robinson looking solid. Kyren Williams getting volume. And that led to 104 yards and 1 touchdown. We get a lot of touchdowns in this offense. We're up there. We're very consistent with that. These last few weeks were a little bit rocky. 10.5, 13.2, 8.6, 13.2 in fantasy production. But now we're doing a little bit better. Down the line with this volume is something you want to look at. Now in the lines of Christian McCaffrey. This guy gets a lot of volume every week, so you want Blake Corum stashed. He got some carries in this game. You want Blake Corum stashed. Either as a handcuff to Kyren Williams, or just have him stashed if you got the space just in case something happens to Kyren Williams and you got that trump card on the back end of your bench. That roster spot that you're not really using, that player you're too scared to start, just get a lottery ticket there. One of those backup running backs. If something happens to another one of these main starting running backs, you're going to wish you did that. A lot of people wish they picked up Jordan Mason over the weekend. That being said, Blake Corum is another guy like that. Joe Mixon getting the work, turning it on this season, coming back from the injury. We got 5 RB1 weeks, a good RB2 week, 9.5 in week 12, so you got to have your down game in there. And now we're back to volume against the Jaguars. Running back scored points against the Jaguars, so it was almost a lock when you look at the number and how much volume he gets compared to the talent. That being said, we're getting it. We're in a good spot going into the back end of the season. Chase Brown, 3 RB1 weeks in a row. Looks like we're going to push for 4. High-end production here. 70 yards and a touchdown plus work in the passing game. We got that burst. We got that hammer between the tackles. Productive out of Illinois. One of the top running backs out of the Big Ten at that time. Big-time matchup, Steelers-Bengals. High-scoring game. That was a fun one to watch. Rico Dowdle's not bad. He's very shifty. He's explosive. He's a running back that in a pinch, you put him in there, he could do something for you. 112 yards on a touchdown. He's not that bad. They got to keep him around and get another running back, but he's not that bad when given the workload. Things open up. Rico Dowdle, if you need him down the line, he's not a guy you want to trust because you don't trust the Cowboys. But he is not that bad. He's shifty. He's explosive. He's got good vision. Maybe not an elite running back, but he's not that bad. He can get it done for you in the right matchup. He can. Those are the running backs from this week. Looking at the next-gen stat charts. Let me know what you think. Comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.